And welcome to a special Friday edition here of Seth and Sean Sports Radio on StreamYard. I'm Sean Palmer. That's Seth Cavins over there. And NFL, wild and wacky last night. Absolutely nobody stopping Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. And
I was watching the U.S. Open.
Right.
No, I actually was watching the U.S. Open.
Really?
Part of it. Yeah, the semi was amazing. The first semi. The second semi, I put on the football game.
Okay, I got on a plane at 8:20, and I got off the plane at 11:40. I got on the plane as the first snap happened, and I got off the plane as Ryan Succop's kick went right through the field, right through the goalpost. It was a perfect flight.
Are you now now that you're back? Are you in training to become the number one running back for the Baltimore Ravens?
Yes, absolutely. Since my fantasy football running back Gus Edwards got injured yesterday. Props, by the way. So we had the Seth and Sean Sports Radio fantasy football draft the other day. Props. Look, last week we were talking throughout the entire draft, and Seth and I are very happy with our draft. Let's leave it at that. We got some good players. We're pretty stoked with the way it went down. But throughout the draft, we were kind of looking at other teams and saying, how are these teams going to do? Because that's what you do, right? So props to the Brooklyn Football Club. Because last night, and I have never seen this happen, they had three guys and got 102 points. They had Godwin, Amari Cooper, and Dak Prescott. First game of the year, three guys in, 102. They are on a pace right now for 209 points. The next highest pace is 179. So props to them, because we were going after Cooper for a while. And I know, Seth, you said he wants the Dak Amari combo. Well, last night, that proved well for him. He definitely made out with that. So just to roll through our team real quick, and then we'll get on to our NFL preview. We are pretty happy with our team. We have Aaron Rodgers and Ryan Fitzpatrick, a Sean Palmer favorite, at the quarterback, backed up by one Daniel Jones and Jordan Love, who we bought for $3 with the eye of keeping him next year. Our running backs, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Mike Davis, Jamal Williams. I like our running backs a lot. Wide receivers.
Well, no, you got to say the most interesting things that we did. Who else did we?
Well, I'll get to that at the end. And then our wide receivers, which usually we skip on something, and we probably skipped on. We got a lot of good wide receivers. We got Keenan Allen, a returner for our team, who we actually got at less than we would have had to for keeping him. We got Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel, William Fuller, Michael Thomas. We got really late at 13, who could come off the injured list and provide a big spark. We kept Darren Waller. Our defensive players, Devin White puts up 9 points last night. Fred Warner, Zaven Collins, and Succop, who I believe put up 7 points last night. But we did go, and Seth, we did something that we've never done before. It was a really interesting late game strategy.
Yeah, we actually picked up for keepers for last year. For next year, we talked already about Jordan Love. But more relevantly, we also took Cam Akers and J.K. Dobbins and just stashing them on our IR. We got them, I think, $3 for Dobbins, $1 for Akers, which if either of them can come back can come back from their injury, which most people have been able to do, we have at a minimum a suitable running back combination for $10.
Yeah.
So,
now Akers did tear his Achilles, not his ACL.
Or not his ACL. So
a little bit different on the Akers, but we will definitely see. Look, you don't have to pick your keepers until the week before. So, right. I mean, we'll know if Dobbins or Akers is available. And look, we could have two running backs and Michael Thomas for under $30 next year.
Or we keep Darren Waller. I mean,
right, still under $30 combined. So I mean, this was seeing how we are going to lose Derrick Henry next year. Look, we could conceivably, I mean, in a realm far, far away, protect Jordan Love, J.K. Dobbins, and Cam Akers for $16. All right.
But then we'd have to spend money, dude.
Oh, no, I'm not saying we don't have to spend money, but we'd have money. Like $18 out of $260. I mean, I don't think we've ever had $200.
Of course not.
No. So I mean, not with the killer bees that we used to have.
Nope.
And speaking of killer bees, Antonio Brown had a pretty good game last night.
Yeah, but this is also why it's really difficult for me to take these receivers in Tampa and in Dallas and stuff like that, and teams where you have not two. We're not talking Thielen and Jefferson. We're not talking A.J. Brown and Jones. But we're talking literally 3 or 4 receiving threats. You know, we played against Mike Evans. Mike Evans gave 6 points. You don't know which from game to game who the number 1 is going to be and who the number 2 is going to be. Because if Antonio Brown is going to be this good, the only Tampa Bay guys I started last week in any of my leagues are Gronkowski, who was fantastic.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady, who was relatively good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get worried when I see 3 wideouts. Because I think Michael Gallup's very good. I think Amari Cooper is very good, but I think they're going to bleep the bed 3 or 4 games during the season because it's going to be CeeDee Lamb or it's going to be the other guy or it's going to be Zeke Elliott, who did nothing last night.
Well, and the other thing is, if you watched the game last night, which I'm sure most people did, as it was the only game in town aside from the U.S. Open, is the fact
you didn't watch the Mets?
No, is the fact that Giovanni Bernard also participated in the fourth quarter, and he became it. I'm sorry, Chris Collinsworth. How many times do you have to say he's the new James White? Because I swear Collinsworth said at least 5 to 6 times last night that Tom Brady has a new James White, and that's Giovanni Bernard. But let's talk about this. Gronkowski had 2 touchdowns. Godwin had a touchdown. Antonio Brown had 2 or 1. He definitely had 1. Right?
Gronk had 2. Gronk had 2. Godwin had 1. Did Brown have 1?
I'm almost sure Brown had 1.
I forget who the 4th touchdown.
Anyway, the fact is you have 5 wideouts there. 5 guys capable of catching the ball. And that doesn't include Leonard Fournette. And that doesn't include Ronald Jones, who once again had fumbling problems. Man, if this guy can hold on to the ball, last year averaged 5 yards a carry. Like, man, it's like ball security is Tom Brady's 101 other than the tuck rule. So you kind of wonder. All right, so let's move on, right? So we have an NFL preview here today. I'm wearing my Jet shirt, so might as well talk the AFC East first. I'll be in Charlotte to see the first loss of the season on Sunday.
Oh, you're going to the game?
I am going to the game in Charlotte, yes.
How far a drive is that?
It's only 3 hours and 45 minutes, so not really that bad. So
you're going to drive 8 hours to watch the beginning of the Zach Wilson era.
Well, we're spending 2 nights there, so we're going to have a good time. Me and a couple of friends here from town. We're going to have a good time. So we're leaving tomorrow at noon. We'll be back Monday morning. So a good 48 hours, good time. And the fact is, look, the Jets I had planned on this year. The Jets are playing the NFC South, so of course they should play the Atlanta Falcons, right? I mean, that would be lovely. And then the schedule comes out and they kick that game to London. So that sucked. And when that sucked, we went for Charlotte. So we will see Sam Darnold finally throw his first 350-yard game, but it will be for the Panthers.
And with Robbie Anderson catching about 185 of those yards.
Oh, yeah.
When you go down there, go kick out to Thomas Street Tavern. One of my best friends runs it.
Okay. All right. Send me a link. I'm happy to check it out. But the fact, and definitely send me his info because I'll hit him up because free beer is free beer. And if I name drop Seth Kamens, it'll get me somewhere. So
yeah, with him, it probably would. He's a good dude.
Okay, so we'll try that out. But the fact is, so the Jets really look 3-13, 3-14, 4-14,
3-4, somewhere between 3 and 5.
Definitely last place.
Oh yeah,
definitely last place. If they win 6 games, I'd be impressed. 6-11 would be an impressive year for them. For me,
I agree.
The Dolphins 8-9, 9-8. I mean,
yeah. I mean, they're a mediocre team,
and the Patriots the same, right? I mean,
yeah. I think Buffalo walks away with the division. I don't think either Miami. I think Miami's got a better chance than New England, but I don't think either team is going to the playoffs.
I'm still having a hard time with people that believe that New England is a playoff team this year. I just don't see it.
Who do they have on offense?
That's what I'm saying. I
don't think anyone's mistaking Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry for Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez.
No, but I think that they are. That's the thing.
But I'm saying, I don't think anyone would, unless you're an insane Boston fan, and not that we know any of those people.
No, we don't know any of those people.
I'm expecting a call from one of your guys pretty soon.
Yeah, none of those people are watching this show right now.
Jacoby Myers is not Randy Moss or Russ Walker or Julian Edelman or Troy Brown. N'Keal Harry is
injured.
Sure.
He's on IR. So
Damian Harris, we have no idea what Damian Harris is at this point.
Look, their defense is quite good.
It's good, but their offense is – they've got nothing.
Yeah, I agree. So 8-9, 9-8, and then Bills go what? 13-4, 14-2,
12-5, 13-4, something like that.
Do they lose a game in the division? 6 games.
They lose one. They'll go 5-1.
Okay. Let's move on to the AFC South. So we have Trevor Lawrence, who's going to throw the ball.
The AFC South. I'm sorry.
Yes. AFC South. Trevor Lawrence going to throw the ball a lot.
True.
So who finishes in last? The Texans or the Jaguars?
I think Houston. I think Jacksonville is going to certainly struggle, but they will have at least a lot of young, excited, energetic talent who will get them through a couple games. Robinson without ADN. DJ Chark wants to come back off a disappointing year. They have Chenault, who's got some talent. Lawrence, is the next Andrew Luck. They'll have some fun games. Houston's just a mess. I mean, no one is excited to see David Johnson and Philip Lindsay, and although we do kind of like Brandon Cooks a lot, but
and Marvin Ingram and
Mark Ingram, who's now kicking himself for leaving Baltimore because
he would have been the number one.
He'd be the number one.
Yeah, and speaking, we'll get to them in a second. Where does Indy fall? I mean, Carson Wentz is back supposedly. Quentin Nelson is back supposedly. Where is this team going?
They're 10-7. They're lower tier.
Are they a playoff team?
Defense. They're a lower tier playoff team to me. I think Tennessee is better. I don't know what we have in Wentz. I don't see a number one wideout, or I barely see a number two wideout in Indy because Paris Campbell can't stay healthy, and we don't know exactly what we have in Pittman, and Hilton's hurt again. They probably have the best defense in the division, but Tennessee's offense should be really, really good. And I think Tennessee wins the division around 10-7, and Indy's around 9-8.
All right. So, wait. So if Tennessee at what, 9-8 or 10-7?
10-7.
10-7. Okay. So you have them losing a couple of games in this division then.
Yeah, I think what'll happen is I think first of all, they lost their offensive coordinator. Vrabel has done a good job, but I don't know. I mean, we pretty much, you need to see the team kind of get to, I hate to say the next level. It sounds so damn cliche, but I think they win the division at 10-7. I think they're more of a November, December, January team. I think they're built for that. I think they're a more dangerous playoff team than they are a regular season team, to be perfectly honest.
Well, we've seen that before, right?
Yeah.
We love that part because that means that he's rolling downhill being Derrick Henry.
Exactly.
Derrick Henry in the last 5 weeks of the last 3 years has been brutal because you're taking shots from that guy. And there's always a guy, and that's our guy. So we'll keep with him. So moving on to the West, right? So the West is always the division that I want to like more than they are. So
I think everyone feels that way.
In the AFC, like I want to like the Raiders. I want this team to do well. They're kind of like my other team. I want them to do well. I want the Chargers to do really well. And yet, neither one of these teams ever does well. I mean, last year, the Chargers they didn't make the playoffs. They lost a bunch of close games. They went 7-9. The Raiders went 8-8. I mean, they had both of those teams, the Chargers in particular, have a ton of talent. They never seem to make it to that, like you said, next level. I mean, they never need to. Since Phillip Rivers left, it doesn't seem like they've ever gotten to that point.
Yeah, it does seem like kind of this running circle of what next. Is it going to be Denver with Jake Plummer at that, years ago? Or I guess, that's going back further than probably I should. Are the Raiders going to be better? Or the Chargers, how much bad luck can one team have? I mean, look, I think the Chargers kind of break that streak this year and become a playoff team. But I think they have a tough schedule, number one. Kansas City's far and away the best team in the division. The Raiders, I just don't see the Raiders. The best thing they had last year was their offensive line. They traded the whole offensive line or lost 3/5 of them. Their number one receivers is other than Waller, is Ruggs, and nobody knows what you got in there. Their defense is nothing special. Their running backs, the one thing, Josh Jacobs is a nice player, but why would you pick up Kenyon Drake? I don't get what they did. I don't know what Mike Mayock and John Gruden are doing. Denver is kind of an anomaly because Denver's got a good defensive team. It's great secondary led by Justin Simmons. But the question is, can Teddy Bridgewater take a team to the playoffs? Very simple.
Yeah. So Giants win this week against Denver?
No.
At home?
Probably not. I think Saquon really kind of gets started next week. I think they're going to ease him in this week. I may actually bench him for fantasy. I'm playing with the idea. And I mean, I actually have Denver as my last playoff team.
Wow.
Well, I think the AFC North, we've got a whole weird. Baltimore has kind of fallen into chaos at this point. So, I mean, you're now looking at a team on their fourth running back. Their defense hasn't looked as sharp as it has in prior years. Losing players like Juden is hurt. I don't know. With Dobbins a legitimate threat, even with Gus Edwards a legitimate threat, I'm not sure Latavius Murray or Le'Veon Bell or Devontae Freeman is going to be the answer there. We both know they've never been known for their wide receivers, and that just puts a lot more pressure on Lamar Jackson with a lesser supporting staff, people.
So the AFC North this year does play the NFC North. So they are playing Minnesota, Detroit, Chicago, and Green Bay. So not to say that that's an easy schedule. I'm just saying they have a Detroit game in there if you're looking for comparatively across divisions. So now let's talk about that North. So Baltimore in a shambles, but always seems to find a way, right? I mean,
they're tough. They're well coached. They're well put together.
Their
They're a
offensive
very
line
good
is
organization.
awesome. Their offensive line is always awesome.
Yeah.
So sometimes you kind of look at them like you did the Denver Broncos in the 2000s, right? I can throw whatever running back there.
The Mike Shanahan rule.
Yeah, and I'll get a
throw Landis Gary. You could throw Mike Anderson. You could throw Terrell.
And I'm still going to get 1,000 yards. So is that a method to this madness? And look, Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. He's to do it all. And I still believe at some point Lamar Jackson is going to get hurt because of the way he plays. But if the offensive line is up to snuff in the way that it's played, they're no worse. And I like their defense. They're even without Juden. They're no worse than a 500 team to me. No worse.
No, that's about where I have them.
So is this the year that Cleveland wins a division, though?
I think so. I'm not sold on Cleveland as a top 2 or 3 team, as a top 2 team in the AFC. But with Baltimore really kind of struggling here, Pittsburgh old, and Cincy interesting but not ready yet. I think Cleveland, led by the 2-headed running monster of Chubb and Hunt, I think they take the division.
I will tell you, I like Cleveland, but they remind me very much of one of those super teams, right? They have all these stars, and they can either all play really they're not a middle ground team. They're either going to be really, really good or they're going to be really, really bad. It's going to be one of the two. And again, Baker Mayfield is their quarterback, no question. Chubb and Hunt, their defense is star-studded. I mean, everybody on their defense. To start with Garrett, Malik Jackson, Jadeveon Clowney, Denzel Ward, John Johnson, who was the safety pickup in the free agency.
From the Rams, yeah.
They are stacked. But do they play well together? Does Clowney stay healthy? Does
Clowney, even if Clowney stays healthy, Clowney has never come close to living up to the expectation of the number 1 pick, or as we call him, the guy who pretty much broke the South Carolina running back in half during our end of year review.
That was the best reaction of any show we've ever had. So for those that were not listening at the time,
6 years ago,
Seth and I were doing a show in which we're doing it on New Year's Day, right? It was on New Year's Day, and we're watching the Michigan-South Carolina game that Jadeveon Clowney burst through and blew up the running back.
Michigan running back.
Michigan running back.
Now, to put this in perspective, I don't remember what year this was, 14. I think it must have been 14, or it must have been 2014, because I've lived in 3 places since then. Because this was where I was living before moving in with Carly.
Yeah.
And both of it at the same time went, oh my God, he's dead.
Yep. It was basically, there was nobody that blocked Jadeveon Clowney. And Jadeveon Clowney was one of the most dominating defensive players I've ever seen in college. I mean, thoroughly dominating one-on-one player. And that one play just sent shivers. But even if you look at their offense, the issue with Cleveland is they have, because of all their high-priced talent, they have no depth. If they suffer an injury, let's look at their offensive. So they got Landry, Wills, Patino, Treader, Jack Conklin, Hooper, Beckham, Mayfield, Chubb, Hunt. I mean, that is a whole lot of talent and a whole lot of salary spent. They do not have replenishments in the depth department. They lose an offensive lineman like J.C. Treader, and they're dealing with a Nick Harris. And when you say who, well, that's the case. That's the case with a lot of teams across the board. Don't get me wrong. But the thing is, they just don't have the depth that I see. They have a lot of name guys. But do these name guys are getting older? such as Beckham and Landry, and can they produce the way that they were before? Does Baker Mayfield sign a new contract with the Browns? And is it in the Russell Wilson stratosphere, or is it in the Carson Wentz stratosphere, or lower?
I think you're. I mean, we can't make that call until we see how this year plays out.
That's my prediction. That's what I'm asking you. So based on this year, where is he signed? What do you think is
Carson? He's in the Carson Wentz. Carson was what, 4 for 125?
120, yeah.
Yeah, that seems about. I mean, seems high to me, but I think that's where he'll end up.
Okay. So you have Cleveland winning. You got Pittsburgh number 2?
No. I think I pretty much have Baltimore and Pittsburgh tied for number 2, and Cincy around 5 and 12.
See, and I like Cincy a lot more than you do this year. I think
the offensive line scares the crap out of me.
Yes, agreed. And they trade one of those guys to the Giants. So good luck with that.
I know. And Cincy is my. You were talking about the Raiders being your extra team. My extra team is Cincy. I would really like them to be good. I want them to be good. I'm just not there yet. And I think a 5 and 12, 6 and 11 team is the end of the Zach Taylor experiment in Cincy. And the division is very good. If they were in the NFC Central, they would be my number 2. If they were in the NFC East, they'd probably be in the running for the division. The division is just tougher than they are. They have to show, after all this mediocrity for so many years, they have to show that they can get to that next tier, which is, I'm assuming you have them at 500 then?
I actually have them above Pittsburgh this year. I mean, I like Riley Rife, who came in to play right tackle.
Yeah.
I like Jonah Williams, who's finally healthy and playing left tackle. I think they have a solid foundation, this team. And they certainly, if Burrow's back, look, Burrow played tremendously before his injury last year.
Yes.
They certainly have offensive talent. I understand your concern is on the offense. My concern is on the defense.
Well, I think the defense is a given concern.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, Pittsburgh to me is that old team that's trying to replenish on the fly and eventually is just going to get old all at the same time. And their offensive line, they have changed every player on that offensive line this year and their running back. And the one thing that I have discussed with people over the course of the last couple of seasons that is detrimental to these teams that make wholesale changes is in the last collective bargaining agreement, there are just less practices in training camp. There is less pad work. There is less continuity. So while I believe last night was a perfect indication of the offense so far ahead of the defense.
Yes.
For both sides. And
to be fair, Dallas, there's no expectation that Dallas's defense is going to be good at any point.
Oh, I agree with that. But you could see that the defense just wasn't there on either side, right? I mean, Tampa's defense is supposed to be very good. Tampa's defense gave up how many yards to Dak Prescott last night?
4 and change.
Right. So they're not going to – I don't think they'll probably give up 400 yards again this season, that defense. So – The offense is always going to be ahead of the defense when you don't have practices where you involve tackling. And when you have an offensive line that is starting from scratch, I think it's going to take them 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 games. And this offensive line is not great. They're patchwork. Trey Turner replacing I can't remember the guy's name.
David. Yeah,
DeCastro.
David
DeCastro. Maurice Pouncey no longer there. You are replacing everything about that. And like you said before, with 3 wide receivers, the difference with Pittsburgh is they don't have a number 1 at all. None of those.
They're all number 2s.
Right.
Yeah.
At least with Tampa Bay, you can make a case that both Antonio Brown, Godwin, all 3 of them could conceivably be number 1s.
So I'm guessing you're going Cleveland, Baltimore, Cincy, Pittsburgh?
Let's go the other way. I'm making a change. Cleveland, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore and you just said Baltimore never.
No, they're going to go 8-9. I don't think anybody goes below 8-9 in this division.
Okay.
I think you have 8-9, 8-9, maybe 10-6, and then Cleveland at like 12-5.
You have Cincy at 10-6.
Yeah, I believe in Cincy.
Good.
I know.
I will go Cleveland, Baltimore, Cincy, Pittsburgh. I kind of like your argument on Pittsburgh. I do think they're all. Or Pittsburgh, Cincy kind of tied at 7 and 10.
I have Cincy in the playoffs. I know it's scary.
But we all have to look. We know that we're all taking the same 5 or 6 teams. It's the one anomaly. So I'll give you mine at the end, on the AFC side.
Let's start with the West.
In the NFC, you mean?
The NFC West. Yeah, NFC. Well, first let's go through our playoff teams.
Okay.
So go ahead. So you got 4 division winners and 3 wild cards.
All right. So we got Buffalo,
Yep.
Cleveland,
Yep.
Tennessee, and Kansas City as my 4.
Yep. We both had the same 4.
Then I will go Indianapolis, the Chargers, and my kind of anomaly team will be the Broncos.
Okay. And I will have Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and the Chargers. So like you said, we have one team, right? Who's coming out of the AFC?
It's going to be Kansas City.
I can't. As much as I want to put Buffalo there, I got to see it first.
Yeah, it's Kansas City.
They have the talent. Look, if Buffalo gets home field, I'll pick Buffalo to win, to get to the Super Bowl. I think that home field advantage is much more important to Buffalo than it is to Kansas City.
Probably is, for a variety of reasons.
And no more so is that they need a new stadium. that would be a blessing in disguise for them. So yeah, I'm totally believe that Buffalo can win if they get that. And truth be told, them being in the AFC East may be the pathway to that.
Yeah, that's the advantage you have is you're playing Miami in December as opposed to Kansas City, who's playing
San Diego
Denver or San Diego in December.
Yeah.
Which it's not playing in 20-degree weather in the snow.
Not so good. I mean, the Bills' schedule this year coming down the pike at the end, let's see the last 4 games. The Jets at home, that's a win. The Falcons at home, that's a win. The Patriots on the road, okay, that may be their one loss. And the Panthers at home. So 3 out of the last 4 games are at home.
Are in gimmies.
And they're gimmies. They do play December 12th in Tampa Bay. I'm thinking that's probably a loss. But 4 out of the last 5 are definitely, they'll be favorites in all 4 of those. And 3 of them are at home. So yeah, they're going to have a nice New Year's or Christmas present, if you will. Okay, NFC West. We're down 27 minutes. NFC West. Seattle Rams, Arizona 49ers. First of all, what?
I said flip a coin.
Oh, when does Trey Lance start?
Let me pull up the San Francisco schedule and I'll tell you. Hold on. I'm assuming around week 6, week 7. Okay. At Lions, no. At the Eagles, no. Versus the Packers, no. Versus the Seahawks, no. Maybe around November 7th.
Well, their bye week is October 17th.
Yeah, I don't. It could be, again, if they're 4-1, I don't see it. If that would, because that's after 5 games.
That's after the Colts. So you got.
So they're at the Lions. They're at the Eagles. Both are winnable. They're home against the Packers. They're home against the Seahawks. They're at the Cardinals. If they are 2-3, he comes in.
Okay. They're 3-2.
What'd you say? 3-2, probably not. I think otherwise you're looking around. If they lose at the Bears on Halloween, I think you're looking around the Cardinals at home. I think they would want to start with a home game.
Yeah, I agree.
So we're looking at the Colts. We're looking at the Cardinals.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so are the 49ers a playoff team?
Yes.
Coming off of 6-10, they're going to the playoffs. Are the Rams a playoff team?
Yes.
So you have 3 teams from this division, I would think, because I have Seattle going to the playoffs.
If I could figure out a way to get all 4 of those teams in the playoffs, I would do it. Because I actually think they're of the 7 best teams in the NFC, 4 of them are in the West.
Well, you could find a way. I'm looking, but because they play the NFC, they play the AFC South, so you could have them all beating the Texans, and all beating the Colts, and all beating Jacksonville. So they could conceivably have 3 wins just there with all 4 of them.
I think it's really, really difficult.
I don't think it's ever been done.
No, it hasn't.
Well, it can't, because this is the first year of 3 wild cards. So it definitely has never been done.
But yes, if I look through these divisions, I think the North and the South are pretty simple division champions. I don't think there's any particularly strong team outside of them. And the NFC East, I mean, good Lord, who the hell knows? So,
all right. So let's go to the South. So the South, Tampa Bay, we have as the winner, right? I mean, after last night, I definitely have no qualms about that. Their offense is firing on all cylinders, and we know their defense is going to come back. Their secondary, as Chris Collinsworth said, 12 times last night, is the only place where they don't have depth. But it didn't look like a season-ending injury to the cornerback. The Saints. Tell me about your thoughts on the Saints.
If there's a team, I think they're probably out of the North and South. Again, I'm not going to get to the East until we get to the East, because I still don't know what I'm going to do with the East. I think they're the best non-division winning team. I don't mind. I like taking the fire on Winston and seeing what you can do with him. He's got 1 year to prove himself.
Yep.
You have Kamara. You're still, Michael Thomas. I'm assuming Michael Thomas, when he comes back, is going to come back a little bit angry and a little bit aggravated that he's not considered one of the guys anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't decided whether I'm going to take them for a wild card or not yet.
Okay.
But they're the second best team in that division. Carolina and Atlanta are in rebuild mode.
You think Carolina's in rebuild mode?
In building up mode. They're very young.
Okay, fair enough. I think actually Atlanta's in rebuild mode, except for Matt Ryan. They seem to just be holding on to Matt Ryan, and they've signed up for a couple of more years. Kyle Pitts, the real deal or not the real deal?
I assume he's the real deal. We've never seen a tight end taken this high. He's a great pass catcher. It does kind of feel like he's going to hit that, the way he's going to be the number 2 wideout behind Ridley. He's going to be, he's 6'5", 260, 270. He's a monster. He moves like a beast. He'll be very good. But you have no defense. We don't know. We think Mike Davis will be kind of in the Michael Turner serviceable mode, kind of to bring up an Atlanta guy from the past. But the team's going nowhere this year.
Okay. How many games does Taysom Hill start?
0.
You think Winston goes the whole year?
I think the Winston goes the whole year.
Does Winston re-sign with the Saints?
Yes.
Long
I think
term.
he's
Long term.
Probably a 3-year deal. I don't think it's a long-term deal. I think it's enough. They see enough that they think he could become, but he's not there yet. So they're not going to.
So Taysom Hill has a 2-year deal, I think, for $25 or $26 million. He's got another $13 million on this contract next year.
Yeah.
So you think that they're going to hold both of them for 1 more year? They have to if they're
They have to.
Winston. Okay. How many yards, how many touchdowns does Taysom Hill have? Does he even play? Does he play?
He plays the gadget 6, 7.
But here's the difference. He played the gadget when he was so different than Drew Brees, right? Is Taysom Hill that much different than Jameis Winston? I don't think he's that much different. I think he was a gadget guy because he was so much different than Brees. I don't think he's of a different philosophy than Jameis Winston.
Well, do you think Winston and Brees? Wait, you think Winston's not a gadget guy? I'm missing your point.
No, my point was Taysom Hill came in because he was so much different than Brees. Brees was a drop back guy, right? He wasn't running. There was no ambiguity to him at quarterback.
Yes, agreed.
Winston is very much the same as Taysom Hill in that regards. He can be a running quarterback.
No, I mean, he can move, but he's not a running quarterback. He's more of the Russell Wilson, I can move if I need to.
Okay.
He's more of the long ball, more of the Darryl LaMonica mad bomber. Let's throw this crap out and let's see if we can complete it or not.
Okay, fair enough. All right. How many catches does Michael Thomas have? First of all, does Michael Thomas come back week 7?
Yes.
And how many catches does he have in 10 games?
40, 45.
That will be no bueno for us. We will not like that.
I also figure he'll come back game 7. They give it a game or 2 to get acclimated.
Okay, fair. Okay. So we have the NFC South. Now we'll move on to the
Norris.
The Norris. I think we agree Packers are going to win this division.
Yes.
I think we agree that Aaron Rodgers is going to win an MVP.
No, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to win the MVP again.
Okay, I'm interested in hearing who that will be if it's not him. Who finishes second?
Minnesota.
Okay, coming off a 7-9 season.
Well, first of all, 7-9 may get you to second place anyway in this division.
That's fair.
I think you would.
As 8-8 got you second place last year.
Right. Look, Minnesota's got a pretty potent offense and a decent defense.
Yes.
For
them, it's all about health.
Yeah, for them, they just haven't been able to stay healthy.
Correct.
If the team doesn't make the playoffs, I think there's a rebuild. I think Zimmer's gone. I think you build, I think you brought in Kellen Mond. I think Cousins, I forget what Cousins' contract is.
Got another year.
Does he have another year?
He's got another year of guaranteed money at least.
Yeah. But I think they start the rebuild if this year is not 10-7.
Okay. So we just said when Trey Lance is going to come in. When is Justin Fields going to start, if at all?
Oh, I think he'll start. I think there'll be pressure for him to start.
So their late bye week. Their bye week is the 15th of November before they play at home versus the Ravens. Oh boy.
That's not gonna. That won't do it.
I mean, that's a long time. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's week 10.
I think it may be look, I'm looking through this now. I don't think Dalton has a particularly long leash here, but I don't think you start you don't start someone on the road.
How about week 3 versus the Lions?
That'd be week 4. If they're 0-3,
yeah, week 4.
If they're 0-3, which is a possibility, then possibly. The problem is if it's not week 4, you're not starting him against the Raiders. You're not starting him against the Packers, I don't think. You're not starting him at the Buccaneers. I guess the Niners. Eesh.
Yeah, I'm saying this is a really hard schedule.
Yeah. I'm really liking my Giants trade more and more right now.
I mean, I'm looking at how many games they would be favored this year. They're going to be favored against the Bengals at home, right?
Yes.
They're going to be favored against the Lions at home, right?
Yes.
That's 2. Are they going to be favored against the Raiders on the road?
Maybe. Probably pick them.
Okay, so let's say no. Are they going to be favored against the Lions in Detroit?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 3. The Cardinals at home?
Yes. They'll be favored. I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't think so. 3. The Giants at home? I think they will. So that's 4. But that depends on – that's January 2nd. They could be 1-13 at that point.
They could be 3-12, and the Giants could be in the middle of a division, in the middle of a run to the playoffs, because I think the NFC East is a free-for-all.
So they're going to be favored in 3 games, at most 5 in 17.
I am, as I said, as a Giants fan, love the trade.
No,
Kadarius Toney wouldn't have been my pick, but I love the trade.
I didn't have him in last place. I do now. Just looking at that schedule. I mean, if you look at the Lions schedule, right? So let's look at the Lions schedule, which is going to be remarkably similar. No question. Okay.
I still have the Lions. Look at this.
I know.
49ers at the Packers.
Are they favored against the Eagles at home?
Maybe.
Okay. Are they favored against the Broncos away? Probably not.
No. I have the Broncos in the playoffs.
They have the Cardinals at home.
Okay, so maybe you're favored in 2 games.
No, the Falcons.
At Atlanta?
I think they're – okay, so they're probably even. They're probably both going to go 3-13 or 3-14. That is – those are some brutal, brutal schedules.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, brutal, brutal schedules. Okay, so we have the Bears and the Lions last place, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you want to throw at them. And then Green Bay and Minnesota. And is Mike Zimmer going to be the coach in 2022?
My gut is no.
Okay.
But I do think he will get another coaching job if he wants one.
Okay, now let's go to the NFC least. So we have, which is, look, if the Cowboys play like the Cowboys played last night, they win.
Right, but here's the problem. They're the Cowboys. How many years in a row have they been the most talented?
I love that statement.
How many years in a row have they been the most talented team in the division? 20? Seriously, 15 of the last 20 years? How many playoff games have they won since 1994? 2? They fall apart every bleeping year.
Okay.
They're obviously the most offensively talented team in the division.
And defensively talented team.
Washington's got a better defense than they do. That back four that front four is fantastic on Washington.
And the middle 3 to 4 for Dallas of Jalen Smith.
They're trying to trade Jalen Smith because he's never come back really from the injury. Parsons looks like he's going to be really good. Sean Lee's not. Is Sean Lee even still on the team?
He is. He's 42 years old.
Yeah, I was going to say he's 65. He played with Roger Staubach, for God's sakes. I mean, Van der Bosch.
No, Van Leesch.
Van Leesch. You know what I'm thinking of.
I do love the fact that I corrected you on a name this week. That was
about time. That happens about as often as, the Dallas Cowboys win a playoff game. So,
yeah.
I don't think the Eagles go very far. I have no idea. The defense looks old and the offense is very young, and I don't know what they have. I can't read the Giants. It feels like people are sleeping on them. Remember, if Philly doesn't throw the game last year, forgetting how bad the division was, Philly does not throw the game, and let's call it what it is. That's what happened. The Giants win the division.
Come on, Nate Sudfeld's an NFL quarterback.
Yes, on Madden 2018, he's rated number 40 or something. He's rated number 62. But think about it. They win the division. They're probably the best coach team in the division, maybe Rivera. Judges, they have a lot of offensive talent. They have receivers galore. They have a running back. Their defense was top 10 last year. It's a very simple question with the Giants. Can Andrew Thomas hold up as the left tackle?
Well, no, there's a couple of question.
But the left tackle is the biggest position.
And the second question is Kenny Golladay going to stay healthy? Because without him, they still
have offensive talent. Oh, look, whether I know that look. I've seen that look.
Yeah, because the talent is in levels, right? I mean, of any team, right? You have levels of talent. Where is your offense without without a number one receiver?
They have a number one.
Pad the box and Sterling Sharp in the wow. It's just a Sterling Sharp.
Sterling Shepard.
Shepard in the slot. That's their offense.
They have Slayton. They got the rookie. I didn't mind them getting Golladay because why wouldn't I want Golladay?
Right.
But I mean, do I love the contract he got? No, I don't.
Of course not.
I mean, they signed him based on him being healthy.
I agree, but I'm saying him and
if he's healthy, if he plays 13 to 14 games, let's say he's out 2 games.
You're right. If he plays 13 to 14 games and is healthy for 13 to 14 games, that team is in the running for the division. No question.
I think the team is in the running for the division anyway. The defense last year was fantastic, and they've only gotten better, most likely, bringing in Adoree Jackson. They re-signed Leonard Williams, who actually seems motivated after signing the deal. Go figure. Go figure.
We'll see. Yeah.
We'll see.
I've seen this story before. Yeah.
Yeah. They got a steal in the second round with the linebacker / defensive end from Georgia, who's a pass rusher, which is what they need. Bradbury's the best corner in the division. I mean, Blake Martinez is a tackling machine.
Yeah.
I'm not I think people are sleeping on this a little bit.
All right. So what's your prediction for this team?
9-8.
And 9-8 takes the division?
No, they lose a tiebreaker.
All right. So here's what we're going to do, because call me wins and losses here. Okay?
Okay. To be fair, I have not looked at their schedule.
We're going to do it right now. Giants and Broncos.
I'll abstain. I'll pass on this for now. Let me see. I want to see the rest of the schedule first.
Giants versus Washington. At Washington. Well,
I think they win. I think they win.
Okay, so 1-0. Versus the Falcons, I'll give you a win. 2. At the Saints.
I think it's a 50-50. I'll say loss, but I'm not sold on it.
At the Cowboys.
I think they lose that.
So they're 2-2 with 1 abstention. Home against the Rams.
I think they lose that.
2-3. Home against the Panthers. That's a win. 3-3. Yeah. Away against the Chiefs.
Loss.
2-4. Home against the Raiders.
No, where they're 3-4. Now I have them winning it.
Home against the Raiders.
Win.
4-4. Away against the Bucs.
Loss.
4-5. Home against the Eagles. That's a win. 5-5. Away against the Dolphins.
Win.
Okay, 6-5. Giants and Chargers at Chargers.
Loss.
6-6. Home against the Cowboys.
Win.
7-6. Away against the Eagles.
Win.
8-6. Away against the Bears.
Win.
9-6. And then home against the
Redskins.
Loss. So it's 9-7 plus your abstention.
The Denver game.
So
is any pick I made that ridiculous?
No. I don't. Look, you have them going even against the Redskins, which I see. I think you had them even against the Cowboys.
I did.
You had them even against the Cowboys. When I brought up the Giants at the Bucs and you were hesitant on it, that was one that I was kind of like.
No, you know why? First of all, they should have beaten the Bucs last year. Second of all, they match up well. Their defense matches up well against the wideouts. That's why I kind of. But it is Tampa in Tampa. I mean, come on.
In Tampa. So, okay. So 10-6 or 10-7. 10-7 or 9-8. That's where you are.
Yeah.
So you have the Giants. So you have Washington winning on a tiebreaker, Giants, Cowboys, Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So quickly, who are your playoff teams? We got 5 minutes to go.
I am going to take all 4 teams in the NFC West.
Okay.
No, I'll take 3 in the West. I'll take New Orleans. Excuse me. I'll take Tampa, Minnesota, Green Bay, and the Redskins.
Okay. So you said 3 in the West. Who are you leaving out?
Arizona.
Okay. So I will take New Orleans, Tampa, 3 in the West. Yeah. Washington and Green Bay. So you have Minnesota. I have New Orleans. I have coming out of this conference. Man, I hate this conference. I'm gonna take the Rams. I don't know why I'm taking the Rams, but I'll take
Sure.
And you're gonna take the Bucs.
I'm going to take the Packers.
Okay. So you have Packers versus Chiefs. I have Rams versus Chiefs. And I'll take the Chiefs to win.
I'll take the Packers.
Okay.
Let Rodgers go out on a swan song. Get traded, and we have 2 starting quarterbacks in different.
So who's the MVP of the? If Rodgers has home field for the entire year, who's your MVP?
Russell Wilson.
So Seattle
wins the division. I have Seattle winning the division. They're the 3 seed because Tampa is going to go 13-4 in Minnesota, and Green Bay is going to go 13-4. They can't go 13-4 in that Western division. It's too hard. I think people are sleeping on Seattle.
I would agree there too. Look, Seattle is based on one thing and one thing only. Can their running game actually exist? Because without that running game, that is a one-sided affair. And every single year, their running backs get hurt, and every single year they suffer because of it. So that's where that is. Who is okay? So we had the champion. We have your MVP, a rookie of the year.
Trevor.
Yeah, it can't be anybody else, right? I mean, realistically. And who is the first coach fired?
We think for a second. There'll be a few. Because there always is a few. I had them making the playoffs. It's a little bit harder to fire him. But no, I think Mike McCarthy is gone if Dallas doesn't make the playoffs.
Okay, I have Matt Nagy gone.
That makes sense. That's probably even more logical.
I mean, based on Chicago's schedule,
if Chicago's 3-13, you're not going in.
And you're not gonna look. I'd have Detroit's coach gone, but he just got hired.
Well, he's got to get a year. I mean,
right? That's what I'm saying. I mean, Nagy's been there for what, 4 years at this point?
Yeah. I mean, look, Kingsbury would be gone under this because I think they need to make the playoffs. I think Zach Taylor. Well, you have Cincy making the playoffs.
Cincy making the playoffs.
So, yeah, there you go.
So, okay. So next week we'll recap week 1. We'll talk a little baseball playoffs because there is still baseball going on. Believe it or not.
I had no idea.
I know. And yeah. But you told me in September we could talk baseball. So we're at the point of talking baseball. And the Mets collapse. So for Seth Kamens, this is Sean Palmer. Seth and Sean Sports Radio. We will have a different time for next week as it is Kol Nidre. It seems like the Jewish holidays are messing with our schedule, but we work around that. So we'll figure that out. It might be a little earlier in the day. Stay tuned to Facebook and Twitter where you will get the latest on our show schedule. And then hopefully the next week we'll be back to normal time. Seth Kamens, Sean Palmer. Hope you all have a very happy weekend and enjoy the NFL season.
Have a good one, guys.
See ya. Bye-bye.